Of course, Creed 3 is opening up. Had a chance earlier in the week to go see Creed 3 at the IMAX premiere, which was a lot of fun. If you guys remember, I loved this movie. I put it almost very, very close, maybe completely on par with the first one, which I absolutely adore the first Creed. I think it's even better than the second film. This movie was fantastic. It was personal. It was rooted and stuff like that. By the way, I had some people saying to me, because I mentioned during my review of Creed 3 that I love this because they made it actually really personal, right? And then people came back and said to me, because of the connection between Damien and Apollo, or Adonis, people came back to me and said, John, the second Creed was about fighting the son of the guy who killed his father. It doesn't get any more personal than that. And I'm like, wait a minute. So you got Adonis, who is looking at Victor Drago, a guy he has never met, never talked to, has nothing to do with him, who happens to be the son of Ivan Drago, who is another guy Adonis has never met, never talked to, has nothing to do with, who happened to kill his daddy, who, by the way, Adonis never met and never talked to and whatever. I'm sorry, I know there's a connection, but that's not really a personal story so much as this one was. Like, they really, and I like the second one a lot, by the way. I like Creed 2 very much, but this one made a little bit more personal, that kind of stuff. But the question has been, how will it do? Because as good as the first two Creed movies are, they haven't exactly been blockbusters per se. And that's fine, because we talk a lot on the show about how what studios and producers want to see. They want to see a trajectory of the box office doing this, right? If it's getting more people are getting more invested in it. Well, this comes to us from our friends over at Screen Rant, who are telling us that it looks like they're projecting that not only will Creed 3 end up being the biggest of the Creed films, opening-wise, it's going to be the biggest opening for any Rocky World movie. It says this, now with Creed 3's release date right around the corner, the first box office projections have surfaced. Per deadline, Creed 3 is heading for an opening weekend in the $38 million to $40 million range. If Creed 3 does open to anything above $35.5 million, it would be a record high debut for any film in the Rocky franchise. All right, so let's go over for just a second into the Campea classroom, shall we? So if we are looking at the box office and where it could be heading and everything about Creed and all that kind of stuff, here's an interesting little bit of info for us. The first Creed film had an opening weekend of $29.6 million. That was the first one, maybe still the best one of the franchise. It was absolutely incredible. Then Creed 2, again, we're talking about they like to see that trajectory, opened to 35.5. Well, now they're saying that Creed 3 could be 40 million. And you know what? I'm going to say plus. I think it goes over that. I think this is going to be by far the biggest opening of this thing. And here's the fun part. I remember coming out of Creed 3, Ray and I were discussing, do we think they're going to do more Creed movies after this? We weren't really sure. But then I saw an interview with Michael B. Jordan saying, we've got more Creed world movies we want to tell. And looking at this box office show, because I'll tell you what, not only are people going to go out to see this, according to these numbers, but they're going to love it. Which means there's going to be an even bigger hunger for more movies in the Creed world. And listen, I get it. There's a contingent of people out there. It's like, if Rocky ain't in it, and if Stallone ain't in it, then I ain't interested. And I get that. There's a part of me that kind of feels that way too. So I completely get it. But a good movie is a good movie. And this is a fantastic movie, Creed 3. Aiming for the stars here. Anyway, Rob, you see these. What does this tell you? Like these types of projections for something like a Creed 3. What do you think?
Well, I mean, look, like you said, the first Creed kind of came out of nowhere and it was really good. And the second Creed tapped into the Rocky mythos in a way that was cool. And so it did well as well. This movie is building on what Michael B. Jordan has done since then. I mean, playing Killmonger, people like, I love Michael B. Jordan. And watching him mature when he was in The Wire, when he was in Friday Night Lights, and now seeing him now, I mean, he's a strikingly handsome guy. He's incredibly articulate. When you see him on the talk show circuit, he's very, very smart. This is his directorial debut. This is a really interesting film, and I think hearing what you guys had to say about it, it's a good movie. It's a really good movie.
It's a really good movie.
And it's different than the first two Creed movies. It's not just retelling something. And I think with Jonathan Majors now everywhere, again, a force to be reckoned with. I just got Devotion. I really liked Devotion. He was great in that. I think this is kind of going to be a zeitgeist movie in the sense that I think people want to see this movie. It's the kind of movie, again, it's not an Avengers movie, but people are going to have, as you put it, fun. This is a fun movie to watch. That's one of the great things. This formula, Rocky V, maybe not so much, but the Rocky formula is a formula that hits more often than not. And I think this looks great. I can't wait to see this movie. I think it's going to do really well. I wouldn't be surprised if this extraordinarily overperforms.
I think you might be right about that. And by the way, again, I'm going to say the hot take. Jonathan Majors, Damien. What's Damien's last name in the movie again? Anderson or no, Damien, whatever the character's last name is. Damien is a better character than Kang.
Ooh.
He just is.
He is.
At least as far as the movie iterations go, I'm not saying Damien's a better character than the comic book Kang, right? But as far as the on-screen stuff, Damien is a better character than Kang. Anyway, Chris, they're projecting. Now, we've seen projections. They usually come in right around where they're projecting, but sometimes it comes a little higher, sometimes a little bit lower. They're projecting this is going to be the biggest opening ever for not just the Creed franchise, but the overall Rocky world as a whole. What do you take away from that?
Well, first of all, I can't hear Rocky 5 without thinking of Spaceballs, of the Rocky 5000. That's always just like living here rent free. I think this speaks to the rising star power here. Michael B. Jordan is obviously a very sought after talent. I'm so excited that his directorial debut has so much energy behind it, especially with all that anime influence. I'm here for that. But also, Jonathan Majors is a force. And say what you will about Ant-Man, he is great in that movie, doing he can with what he's given. Those post-credit scenes, so good. Bummer that they were the best part of the movie, though. So I think that this really, really just speaks to how much people want to see these two gentlemen on screen. They're tremendous actors. I'm really excited to see what Michael B. Jordan has done behind the camera as well. And I think a lot of other people are excited about that, too.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? The word from me and other people, the movie's fantastic. I can't wait for you guys to watch this thing. What do you think about them projecting that this is going to be the biggest opening that they've had? Doesn't always work out that way when you get into franchises. What do you think? Jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Guys, we want to thank a sponsor of this video, Rocket Money. The average person has around 12 paid subscriptions. Think about that. If you think you're only subscribed to a handful of services, you might want to double check. With Rocket Money, you can quickly identify and cancel all of your unwanted subscriptions. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you so you can stop paying for the ones you don't want and don't even use. Simply find the subscription you don't want and press cancel, and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. No more long hold times with customer service or tedious emailing back and forth. Rocket Money makes canceling subscriptions as easy as the click of a button. My wife Ann and I moved out of Burbank 2 years ago, and one of the first things I discovered when I loaded up Rocket Money was that I was still paying for a gym membership I haven't even been to in Burbank in 2 years. So stop throwing away your money. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/Campea. That's rocketmoney.com/Campea. rocketmoney.com/Campea.